I saw a sign in the church that I passed on the way home that says, "Who's ever praying for snow, good job."
That's funny.
Isn't that cute?
If you try to make humor out of it, it's so ridiculous.
And it's like stuck into this giant snow bank in
Yeah,
their
probably
parking
got
lot.
snow blown up on it and stuff. Good job.
I thought that was pretty cute. Okay, fine.
Okay, so last time we did repeating code. This time we're going to do more repeating code. And we're going to do more with the while statement. We're going to talk about initialization, which is extremely important once you start doing this stuff. We're going to go, for example, cost of bananas again, and some of the demos, Fahrenheit to Celsius again, and speeds again. But we're going to be repeating.
Repetition.
Yes.
That's what I need.
It's certainly what I need.
As little new stuff as possible each time so that it doesn't overwhelm you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so remember the last time we did the while statement, which allows us to repeat code many times. So just like an if, except we have a while here, and same kind of logical thing here. Something needs to be true, and then inside the curly braces we have a bunch of statements to do whatever it is we want to do. And that will happen over and over and over and over and over again until that something is no longer true. And remember, in C, true is 1, or actually anything that isn't 0, and false is 0. So sometimes anything else that isn't 0 is a useful thing, but usually I try to keep it to 1.
Can you give us an example
Of?
well, whatever that something is true, do something. Give me an example.
While, let's see, so previous things we've done. Let's say you're, well, we'll do one real shortly.
Okay.
But one of the most common things you put in here is how many times you've repeated it. So if you want to repeat it 5 times, you do if n, let's say, is less than 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then it will only do it as long as n is less than 5. And then it will stop. So that's a simple example of why you would want to do it a million times. The other way, let's see. Often enough, you have files that you're reading, say a CSV, right, with a whole bunch of lines of data in it. Very often, while something is true, while there's another line to read,
read it.
And when you're at the end of the file, you get out of the while loop because there's no more lines in the file.
Okay.
That's a very common.
Okay.
That's a very common
That makes
reason for
sense.
doing
Yeah.
that, because you have no idea
Right.
how many lines your file's going to have.
Stop spitting stuff out.
But you can tell when you hit the end of file.
Okay. Gotcha.
So that's a more practical example.
Yeah. Thank you.
So today we won't do any of those practical examples. Instead, we're going to do bananas again. So instead of last time where we had just while 1 and then we enclosed all this, now we have a bunch more other stuff we got to do to make it only happen, in this case, 5 times. So first, we need to be able to count the number of times we've gone through this loop. So we need a variable that can count, and that's an int. And we'll just call it int because we're lazy. Then we need to say, okay, we're going to use n for counting how many times through. So let's say we're going to say, okay, if n is less than 5, then we'll keep doing this. And when n is greater than 5, we won't do it. Now, in order to make that worth anything, we have to actually count the number of times we've gone through here. So we need to start n out at 0, or something like that. And then we have to keep incrementing n every time we go through here. So there's these 4 things are standard stuff you got to do for any while loop where you're counting stuff like this. You have to have a counter. You have to initialize the counter to something that makes sense. You have to come up with an expression that makes sense to you, and then you have to keep adding to that counter every time. So this will make n be 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and when it finally hits 5, and then it comes back up here and says, is n less than 5, it ain't. So go back and finish the rest of your program if there is any, and it'll get out of the loop.
So literally, do we have to change the increments or so that we're going to be writing this code 4 more times?
Definitely not. That's
Okay.
why you want to do this.
All right.
You don't want to write the
All
code
right.
more than once.
Okay.
So it's the same code
Yep.
with this thing added so
Okay.
that you count how many times you've gone through. That so that you know you're starting at 0. Otherwise, who knows where the heck you're starting. But all this does is it puts aside 4 bytes to store the value of n. It doesn't actually do anything to those 4 bytes. So there's basically random garbage in those 4 bytes. So n could be anything right here, right at this point here, once you've allocated it. Now you have to initialize it, make sure it makes sense. So that had better satisfy this, or you're never going to get into your while loop. Well, that always has to make sure that, in this case, n less than 5, yeah, 0 is less than 5, okay, we'll get into our while loop. Then we need the n equals n plus 1 to make sure that we get out of our while loop. Eventually, n is going to be greater than 5. It's going to equal 5, and then we'll get out until the end of it. So these 4 things all work together to make this possible. And it's complicated enough that I made while 1 be our first intro to how you use while the last time. So this is a common, everyday thing that you will do constantly. You will come up with a counter. You will initialize the counter before your while loop. You'll come up with something that makes sense here for how to get out of your while loop. You'll probably have a counter down here to see where you are. In other cases, you won't need the counter, but it'll still be almost as complicated as this. So you'll always have those 4 things going on to make your while loop only execute as many times as you want. Okay, so there's the bananas thing. So that'll run it 5 times. It'll be n will be 0 the first time through, n will be 1 the second time through, and so on. Eventually, n will be 4. Then it'll get to n equals n plus 1, n will be 5, and then 5 is not less than 5, so it will no longer do it, and it'll get out. So, I tend to get ahead of myself. I don't know if you noticed that. Okay, so instead of the 1, we're using this n less than 5 business, and so we need to make sure n equals 0 before it starts. Otherwise, n could be some gobbledygook, some huge number because of the random stuff that's inside memory. And I don't know if you're used to this n equals n plus 1 stuff, but n equals n plus 1 is a very common occurrence in C programs because you want to increment a counter. That's exactly what we're doing here. We're just counting how many times through. Every time through, it'll be 1 more. And again, unlike math, this is an assignment statement. So it takes n, adds 1 to it, and then assigns that value back to n. So there's no equality involved here. Okay, so here's the whole bananas program. And everything from here to here is the exact same thing that we had for our bananas program. What we've added is this guy here, and this guy here. So just like our previous example. So now that is going to run 5 times when we run this program, and then it will stop. A few other little ditties to notice. You can declare more than 1 variable at a time, as long as you separate them with these commas. You don't have to have spaces if you don't want to, but you can. That doesn't matter either. And I think that's the only oddity there. So here's an example of me running that program 5 times. And of course, I'm still writing out money with too many zeros. So that's the intro to using while and having it only work a few times instead of infinity times. So if there's no questions, we'll move on to actually doing it. No
So
questions?
far.
Okay,
You have to
so,
do the studio thing, though. Actually,
of course,
studio.
yes,
Studio.
yes. Standardio.h. That's what it is. That's how you say it in your head anyway, even though it's not spelled that way. Standardio.h. That is still necessary for every one of our programs. So there's C to F. And again, what we've added is the int n, the n equals 0, a while n greater than 5 business, and begin and end curly braces to hold everything together, and then the increment n so that we finally stop. In every case, for a while statement that's ever going to stop, something has to change as you do these things. Otherwise, that will just go for infinity, which is never a good thing. This should look familiar. Same old printing a prompt for the user so they know when to enter something. Scanf, sucking it into in this case, a double, using the %LF, then doing some calculations, and then printing out the result. And with a %F for the double. And the extra is this n equals n plus 1 business, so that we make sure we finally stop eventually. Okay. So, we're doing whiles.
Cool.
Last time we did whiles with 1 as the argument there.
Uh-huh.
Now we're doing whiles with something meaningful.
Ah.
That's perfect. Complicated. And then, so it's a lot of stuff. Yeah, a lot of stuff. And we're getting close to being able to write programs that are actually useful. Very close.
Sure.
Right, once we have this while and a little bit more, we'll be able to process those CSVs, no problem, and spew out other CSVs if you want. And that's a very common use case for programs, especially the ones we want.
Oh, I'm not, I thought you wanted us to do the bananas.
Yeah, you can do the bananas one too if you want. I mean, whatever works really.
Yeah, I got a question.
Yeah.
I was doing the bananas one, now I'm halfway through it.
Yeah, and you definitely don't want.
Actually do this?
The do something is just me saying I don't want to write all the code. So,
So I only have half of the thing here.
so yeah, you'll have to go find the rest of the code. There it is.
You got to do something part about it, now it's not.
Yeah, and that's a good place to be. You know the difference.
That's what the boss was put in there, and given information to the programmer. Do something.
Yeah, just do
Do
something.
something. Make it come out like this.
Yeah. Good luck making sense out of what the boss wants. Half the time the boss doesn't really know.
Everyone here knows exactly what he means by that.
Yeah?
I'm as guilty as any other boss when I'm the boss. Yeah, something. In part, it's writing a program from something vague that the boss wants is a great way to figure out what the boss really wants. Because you do something that maybe they take a look, no, not quite, and you kind of iterate on it. And then when you're done, you've actually got something that is useful. But it always takes that iteration.
This is something.
So, everybody passed this?
Yeah.
Last time we did this. Do I want to put that in there?
So, everybody remembers how to compile?
Probably want to put that in.
Now I do. I was trying it on my own and no, I
Oh.
Yeah,
didn't.
you couldn't remember all the details, yes.
Okay.
So GCC minus output file C to F, input file C to F dot C. And run it /C to F. And stick in whatever you feel like.
Can you go back to the, can you go to the page before real quick? Because I obviously put something in there wrong.
Remind me, like, stick there,
Yeah. The L value required is left operand is assigned that.
Whatever the heck that means, right?
Right. What did I miss?
All right, you've got an equals instead of a plus here.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's an interesting error. Something equals something equals something. You can actually
Thank you.
do that in C and have it be meaningful, but I'm not going to go there. That's why I gave you such a bizarre error message.
Okay.
So, everybody got it working?
when I quit not doing the keypad.
Stinking keypad, right?
Have a piece of paper over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stinking keypad.
I'm like, but I edited it. No, I didn't. It's just...
Yeah.
Annoying.
Such is life.
Mhm.
Okay, so any questions about this guy? We made it work 5 times. Did you try it and have it actually stop after you entered 5 things?
So I compiled it, but I'm not, how do I run it?
How do you run it?
Yeah.
/C to F. So it should ask you 5 times and then it should stop asking you.
Oh, gotcha.
So if anybody wants to do the next one,
Yep. Cool.
this is the next
Cool,
one.
cool.
Should look familiar. Distance divided by time equals speed. And I made it 10 just for the fun of it, whatever you want. You don't have to make it 10. Die-hard crew. Lots of other people have quit for various reasons. Yeah, too busy.
Yeah.
Too busy to take an hour for lunch.
I usually don't.
Horrible,
I know, I hear ya.
horrible.
Just, it's easier not to get out of the stride.
Yeah,
I
It's like
definitely
everyone wants it right now.
Yeah, no
Can
other
you
way.
consider your desk needs food and then keep going? It's so much
Yep,
easier than trying to
it
pick back
is.
up after lunch.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's healthier for you to definitely take a
Yeah.
lunch.
I mean, obviously I eat.
Yeah, but like clearing your mind.
Yeah, gotta drag yourself back to the work right after lunch. I'll admit I eat at my desk too.
It's hard on your keyboards, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have another desk I turn around. I don't eat at my computer desk.
Mm.
I have another desk and I eat there. But I have some messy stuff sometimes.
My
Boy.
keyboard is messy.
Yeah, my keyboard, I regularly clean it out.
And they're cheap enough these days, they're just like, what? Instead of cleaning it, oh my God, spend an
Oh,
hour cleaning it.
Like I said, I always like whack it upside down.
Yeah, that's what I do.
definitely.
Once a week, whether it needs it or not.
Yeah. Better than all at once. So, as you type this in, think about what you're typing in.
I'm
Not
trying to as
just
I'm going this
type.
along. I'm like,
Because
makes sense, mm-hmm, yep.
starting next time, all these programs will have bugs. They will no longer be right, and you will have to figure out how to get them to be right. And I'll start talking about debugging too. But, for simple stuff, syntax stuff that you're used to doing now already, forgetting semicolons and things like that.
I always forget the and, always.
The and, yes,
I'm like,
and.
why is it impromptu me? And I'm like, oh yeah, and then I gotta command.
Yeah, it's annoying. There's, should I even say it? I never use and when I use Emacs, but it always works because I actually don't use Emacs. I use my own command which runs Emacs for me. And the shell that you're using now is actually something that you can program. And so I've written a program that runs Emacs with the and. That way I don't have to remember. And perhaps one of these days I'll teach that too. I don't know. There's only so much time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't stand entering the and either. So I feel for you.
So what's wrong with that one?
How you doing?
Oh, it doesn't have those words. Right.
So we're doing while statements, and we're calculating and velocity,
You might have fixed the rest.
Right.
looping over and over again. So today, last time I taught them while with a 1 here, and today I'm teaching them how to do it for real, and how to do this, and how to initialize, and all that stuff.
I'm not that man, so no, I didn't start to get anything.
He could teach it too, definitely, and he does. He does a
At the
job.
time. Yeah, but that's okay. Their kids are always
Yes.
without waiting until the half.
So Mike here is actually the inspiration for why I'm teaching this class, because of his teaching Engine 101 as a TA, and how illuminating it was to see the issues that were brought up by the students as they were learning.
People coming in tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, so it will be more illuminating.
Yeah, we'll see what they have to say. Okay, so everybody got this in?
No. Keep
Mine's
going.
not stopping.
Hmm?
Mine's not stopping at
Not stopping after 10. I wonder why. So everybody remembers the %ls and the and here. Those are important. Scan S. All right, let's
I
see
can't
what's
even
going
get that
on.
far. I can't even get to my compiler. How do I get back to the prompt command?
You didn't hit and either.
You
Oh,
got
that one?
yeah, you forgot and.
In.
So there's an and after the file name when you do Emacs.
Oh.
And so
Fight.
save this,
Mhm.
kill it.
Yeah, it's saved.
So kill it. Now you'll get your prompt back.
Righty. Thank you.
You got n plus n plus 1. You don't have n equals n plus 1.
But now I still can't compile it because it doesn't have the and. Oh, because I didn't tell it to. Wait.
No, it actually compiled,
Oh.
and it's yelling at you.
Gotcha.
So you got to bring it back up again
Gotcha.
so that you can edit it. So one way to do
Where
it
is
is just
it?
to go here and
Yeah.
do File,
Oh, gotcha.
and you can open a file and have it be the get velocity one.
Alright.
And,
Okay. Then figure out what I did.
and now go to line 8, error, expected expression before less than. So you've got less than n10. So it's n less than 10 is what you want to say.
Gotcha.
And I highly recommend you fix one bug at a time.
Okay. And
So
run it
you
again.
fix that, save it,
Okay, and then run it again.
and then compile again.
Okay.
And remember, you got to click.
Oh, I thought I did.
and then
So I need
you
to
just
put-
use your up arrow
Okay,
and hit return.
okay. So now there's something.
And now it's yelling about line 9.
Terminating character.
Look what I found. You divide by zero, it says infinite minus.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah, I see it.
That's the way to do it. Fiddle. You gotta fiddle.
Okay.
That's good. Yes, dividing by 0. In the old days, dividing by 0 would kill your program. These days, they have these fancy things where it just says, okay, it's infinity, and keeps going. Which may not be any good for you either.
Because you hardly ever want an answer of infinity.
Yeah, it's not really a good thing, because you can't really compute with infinity. So often enough, you'd rather have it die and tell you where it died, but the way they do things these days. So it has its uses, and you just need to deal with it. So one thing that might be of use, to make it so your program actually calculates things that make sense, no matter what, is you could look at the time in hours and make sure it's positive before you divide by it. And if it's not positive, you yell at them. Say, you screwed up, buddy. Give me another value.
Okay.
And if you're bored, try adding that to your code and see what happens.
So, you don't have to type.
See what's involved in adding such a thing to your code. What did I do wrong now?
That doesn't like the whole thing. Oh, it took out my fees. It didn't go get everything.
Okay, so we,
Okay, so now I'm not, no, it's not running. Right.
The arrows is okay. I've showed everybody the arrows, I think, by now. Yeah. And
I still do the.
I still want you to remember what to type, but
Still good.
the arrows definitely makes it easier.
And I'm
We had
missing a little
GCC -O blah.c, that should be burned into your memories as something you can't even forget.
So I'm not able to run it again for some reason or other. It
Or you can
compiled
always bring a
it.
cheat sheet.
Yeah,
But yeah, that
they
should
showed them
be-
the cheat sheet.
And I've got the cheat sheet online.
So it apparently, I mean, it compiled, but I don't, now I,
So, yeah, so that means that there are no errors.
right?
So now you can run it,
Well, I tried that.
which is /get velocity.
I tried that too.
And it does nothing.
Well, that's what I thought I was doing it, so
Well,
I
this
did
is
something
cool.
wrong.
This is cool. No, you did that right. So let's look at your code. Why does
Yeah.
it do nothing? So it compiles, n equals 0, while n is less than -10.
Oh, because I have a negative in there.
So, n was
Gotcha.
not less than -10, so it
Gotcha.
didn't do anything.
I see that now. Cool.
Nice and simple.
Yeah, good.
Question.
Yes.
I got the director, I did the LS and the.
Yes, all this junk.
But I don't know how to how to actually.
you know what?
I did it earlier, but now I can't.
What do you want to do?
I want to pull it basic so I can get some calculations.
Okay. So, where are we now?
Oh, your variable.
We're in day 7, and you want to get something from day 6. So let's look at what's in day 6.
I did this LS gap
Yeah.
out, but I couldn't figure it
That
out.
will look at what's in day 6,
Okay.
and then if you want to copy something from day 6, and then give it the name, say tax rate.c. Then, space, you want to copy from there to here, and here is dot. Now you've got tax rate.c in day 7, now you can edit it. Alright, it looks like it's working.
It is. Figuring out how long it's going to take me to drive to Florida.
Way too long.
If you have 2 drivers, you can drive at double rate.
Straight through, yeah.
And I'm free.
Yeah, we usually do that. We're not driving this year, though. Forget it.
I'm ready.
Or Wyoming.
This is what I read about on those trips. I read about programming.
It's really
It's
nice.
awful. It's awful.
It's true.
Yeah, it's a cruise. Yeah, that's about what it's, 75 miles an hour, that's pretty close.
Actually, that's like,
All right, what do we got?
It's the e-filer. This works. You know how I amplify the regular area?
That was
Yeah.
5 and 6.
Yeah,
A year ago.
yeah. It's not something I'm gonna count on in any of my
No,
programs.
but you can consider it like e-filer.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
Yeah, stuff that's too new like that, forget it. I won't even,
Cool.
yeah.
No, they don't need
Oh,
to.
and it actually has my misspelling in there too.
So that if you do it as a variable,
That's
and
funny.
see how big it is.
District.
And I tried it, and no, it's not working.
District. What
Yeah.
district is that?
Showed it to our students on Thursday.
That is-
Cool.
Switch.
And that one feature is a very useful feature, I gotta say, getting the size of the
Oh, I
area.
completely agree.
That is cool.
It is.
That's something that C has needed since it existed. Instead of everybody asking how big
What's
things
wrong with
are.
5?
Right.
Cool.
What I constantly have to do. Now I don't have to, but I haven't done that yet.
Reading from files this, or is it?
No reading from files yet, nothing to do with files at all yet.
Just making them.
Exactly. Yes, we haven't read anything from files, we haven't output to files. We don't even really know what a file is yet, other than this thing we type stuff into. But
We have too many.
we're getting there. I'm not sure, but I think the first way we're going to read from files is make it be standard in, which they're doing right now. And all we do is a standard redirect thing, which is such a useful thing in Unix.
Oh,
I think they have to learn it, even though it's not C.
So,
it's important. Just
Yeah.
like the ampersand.
Yep. So we're going to get to that. I'm not sure when, but we are.
Do they know what the ampersand means?
I've explained the ampersand.
Cool.
They still have trouble remembering it.
All
I've
right.
explained it. And they experience the lack of it
Oh, this is why it's 5.
enough that I think they understand it.
My
Close.
students, a whole lot more than they do, still have trouble.
They still have
At the
trouble
end
with
of
the
the
end.
semester, they
Yeah,
have trouble.
yeah. So how we doing? Is this all typed in? Working?
yeah,
All working.
Yeah.
How about you, Carla?
Now, I'm stuck on this other thing. I'm trying to figure out what they're saying is wrong.
Okay, so you've got two programs now. You can run them and fiddle with how many times they run. So you can do the tax rate. I know Shane is on the tax rate already.
Trying to, yeah.
Oh, I used
So,
I wasn't here for that.
again, just adding the while loop stuff around the whole program to have it run a bunch of times. You could use this other one too, the Fahrenheit to Celsius, if you want. So those two are similar to ones we've done last in previous time. Just adding the while loop around them. So how's Carla doing? So let's see. Line 5.
Am I making a bracket? Based on what it's not.
You know what you don't have? You don't have Maine.
Oh, here's the problem. I thought that was the integer thing. Okay. It's on here, but I didn't put it there because I didn't think I...
Always something.
Always have
Everything
something.
looks good except, oh wait,
Oh.
something you didn't even
I
think
thought that
of.
was the same thing as this.
No, main is the.
Main is
Bravo.
a standard.
Int Maine, you always gotta have int Maine.
Always gotta have main.
We will get into details later.
That's a detail I need.
But int Maine, yes. For now, we're only on day 7.
No, I think the main.
Int Maine. You always gotta have int Maine with 2 parens with nothing in them, curly brace, begin curly brace, and then way at the end, and then curly brace. just like the ifs and the whiles,
Why did it keep telling me like lines that didn't have anything wrong?
Because
it's confused and text.
once you have one error, it misinterprets everything
Yeah.
after that.
Which is why fixing one error at a time is the best
Now it
strategy,
says line
at least for now.
19 is wrong.
Did you remember your final curly brace?
Yeah, you gotta have a curly brace at the end that
Yeah,
finishes
that is
main.
really brief.
So how come I can't open more than one of my,
Oh, I.
Programs
so
at once.
this goes.
You can,
So now I need.
I want to go back to my tax rate one, which is there, because I just saw it, but every time I,
if you go to buffers,
yeah,
and this is an Emacs thing,
okay.
what it does is it has one view,
Mhm.
but it can have all of these open at the same time, and they are. They're
Okay.
just not viewable.
Visible,
So you
okay.
have to go to it. Which one do you want to do, tax rate? So just go to it, and there it is.
And then, but I want the other one too. At
At the same time. All right, so at the same time is another story.
Okay. I tried that too. file, anyway.
Let's see, new frame.
Okay, now you gotta run it.
Okay,
That brings up another one.
Yes, right?
okay.
And now
I
you
can
can have
change
them both
one or the other.
at the
Okay.
same time. So now buffers,
Oh.
And then get velocity.
get
Yeah.
velocity, and away you go.
Thank you.
And this is an Emacs thing, it just
Okay.
takes time to learn.
Okay,
And of course, I haven't taught it to you at all,
okay,
because
thank you.
that's an advanced topic.
Alrighty.
Make sure it works correctly.
And there's terminology when it comes to Emacs. Buffer, the frame.
Gotcha.
I didn't really
Okay.
want to go there.
Alright. Okay,
Okay, so now you have to look at your output.
tell me why in the program we wrote today that the word double comes before all of the distance, miles, time, hours, speed, MPH.
These guys.
Yep. Why
Okay.
is the word
Oh, I
double there?
Okay, the word double in C is used to declare a variable to be a number that has a fractional part to it. So
When
it
your format.
it allocates 8 bytes of storage somewhere in RAM that holds the value of distance, miles, and another 8 for time, hours, and another 8 for speed, MPH. And every operation down in here, it knows when
To
it
put
gets
that
that
many
value,
characters.
well, when it gets that value from those 8 bytes, it knows to interpret it as a real number. And so, when it gets the value of int n, for example, there's 4 bytes, and it knows to interpret that as an integer. And so, you're telling it how to deal with these
With what you're
variables.
getting. Okay.
And without that, it doesn't have any idea. It's just a bunch of ones and zeros. Were you here for that talk? The one where we were talking about how everything's just basically a bunch of ones and zeros?
Yeah.
So it needs these types in order to make sense out of those ones and zeros.
Okay. Okay.
Without that, all bets are off. I mean,
Alright.
who knows what to do with those bits.
I did something to the terminal, now it's just blank. Because I was trying to go find my
I
old
get
text
that all the
file
time.
and copy and paste it, and that didn't work, so I just went,
Okay, well, you
Um,
got Emacs. You got Emacs without an and that'll
oh, okay,
screw everything
that'll,
up.
yep.
So I would save this and kill it.
So try all of them. Yeah. One of the
Yeah, it's already
It's already
saved,
saved.
so just quit.
Sure.
And it will all of a sudden run everything you just typed.
Wasn't that interesting? So I was trying to make new directories and trying to pull it into giving me more stuff and how to get back to that thing.
So I guess what I'm asking is this whole thing. So this thing is.
Our
So I
favorite
can't use my,
and...
can I use my text file again that I just killed?
Sure. Just do Emacs, the text, whatever it is, follow it with an ampersand.
Yeah, I misinterpreted that. I didn't know it.
I think it was text.
If
Because
you can't remember backspace,
You put any
and type
one in
ls
there,
and hit
it's
return.
gonna go
Okay, that lists all the files in your current directory.
Now, once I put in the.
That way you can, okay, that's what I
So
called
much,
it.
I thought it was this one, but I
It
added
shouldn't take us this number.
the n equals less than 3, so it only would ask me 3 times.
Right. So now you know what it's called, you can Emacs it. And don't forget the and. That's crazy stuff, I know.
Oh, okay. Yep, so it's all done, okay. Can't do anymore. I don't want to start that, I'll do it at
What
home.
are we doing? 12:47, not too bad.
No, when you run these things, I'll move these stuff.
Okay, let it happen.
Pardon me?
You know, this one has the thing where you can buy it at home, or whatever, you don't have to. I think that's what it is.
That's right. It's quite different. It's a website that lets you enter C programs
So, if
and
I were,
compile and run them.
okay, so what would it just tell me, is it automatically compiles and runs this?
It automatically compiles for you if you hit the compile button.
Oh, okay, and
On
then
the website.
but you still go through
And-
and check the mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I don't know, I haven't tried it with user input. I doubt that site works.
Are you doing
No.
Oh, okay, because we did figure out.
Yeah, because they don't, you know, they're scared of such things. They don't want arbitrary stuff getting done to their website. So I doubt they let you do that. But at least you can enter it and compile it and see if it compiles.
If I enter and compile it and I'm getting on the series or whatever, would it tell me like line 5?
It'll be the exact same error messages you get here.
My brain is dead after.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
It's the same. It's the same compiler. It's GCC, just like us. It might be a different version, but it's basically the same compiler. So it'll be the same compiler errors that you'll get. So how are we doing? Shana looks confused.
I'm just trying to figure out homework number 2.
Ah. See. Especially. Yes. This is challenging. I will agree. It is challenging. Yeah. Good luck. It is challenging.
The Euros or
The Euros one. Yeah.
Just
yeah.
the second Euro
Yeah,
one.
this
I
one.
did the first.
This one's
Figure
tough.
out smart colors.
Number
Yeah, no
2.
kidding.
Number
You
2
need to
is
be
tough.
sitting in the middle.
No, really?
Oh, yeah, that is a tough one.
And that's why it's homework. It's
Well, the first one was homework and then.
gotcha. Yeah. The first one gets you going, and then the second one throws you for a loop. Hardy har har. Yeah.
We were doing.
Just converting the tax rate with the while statement. And
So do you
looking at
have-
my old one.
So you have
or
the
looking
tax
at the
rate
new
one working without the
No,
while?
oh God, no, I haven't got it written yet.
I mean, the tax rate one is an exercise in if, and it's a bit advanced since there's these 4 different ones. That can help.
So I'm just looking at, we have the different, and then,
Yep, we read stuff, we compute
Right,
stuff, and then
right.
we write stuff.
right, but I'm struggling, of course, with what am I supposed to be?
Okay, enter the salary, and then you
Right.
read it. You probably want to read the salary.
Okay.
So that's what they just typed in. So that'll read the salary.
Mhm.
Now, to figure out what the tax rate is, you got to go through a bunch of ifs that are based on salary, and then that set the tax rate, just like you've got.
Okay. So when does the curly bracket start again?
Okay.
After?
The curly bracket, so you've got an if. It's just like what you've got it there. You've got an if with something in those parens, and then a curly brace and curly brace for what it should do if the stuff inside the parens is true.
And that's with the
And
tax
that's right.
rate.
So that's right. That's exactly
Okay.
right.
Well,
So
that's
if
from
the
last
salary is
one,
less
but
than
okay.
20,
Yeah.
set the tax rate
Rate
to
is
0.
Okay.
And if the salary is
Okay.
between 20 and 40, set the tax rate to 20%.
Is,
And it's almost English. It's not quite, but it's almost English.
okay. So how's the between?
So, yeah. How do you do it in
20 to
between?
40?
So the salary has to be greater than 20,
Okay.
and the salary has to be less than 40. You need both of those to be true.
Okay.
And the way you do "and" in this case
Uh-huh.
is with the 2 ampersands.
Okay.
So salary
Okay.
greater than 20.
Yeah.
Now you do "and," just the 2 ampersands.
2
2 ampersands, yeah.
and less.
And now you have to have another condition, a complete condition, which is salary less than 40. It
Okay.
doesn't remember anything about the previous
Okay.
condition.
Okay.
So that'll do salary greater than 20 and salary less than 40.
Okay.
So, and then you just keep doing that.
Okay.
So next one is 40 to 60, and then the next one is greater than 60.
But then, okay. 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 Gotcha. Okay.
Now, one thing you might want to do, once you're done, is
Yep.
to test it with salaries that are on the edge. So let's say you give it 20K. Which one do you want it, which tax rate is it? Is it 0 or is it 20? And I was purposely vague, so you can make it be whatever you want. But it shouldn't be 0 for, say, 40, right?
Right.
40 should
Right.
either be 20 or 30. It better not be 0.
Right. Right.
And it might be if you don't do your ifs quite right.
Okay.
So see what happens.
All right. Get.
So how are we doing?
Good, I figured out I did some boo-boos in here. Because it wouldn't give me my first salaries, but I could type in anything over 60,001 and give me the tax rate, but no other numbers that would do.
Ah.
And then I made it go on forever and ever for somehow.
So what if I
But I
make
stopped it.
60,050 cents?
Oh, that would be interesting to see what might happen. I don't know.
See, what you did is fine as long as you know the salaries are going to be integers,
50.
but the salaries aren't integers.
Oh, my tax is 0 if I make 60 grand.
Exactly.
Wouldn't that be wonderful
Yeah.
to pull out?
See, that's one of those cases where it slips through all those
More
ifs.
kids.
So how do you make it not do that? And the basic idea is that one of these ifs is going to have less than this top thing, and the other if is going to have greater than or equal to that. That way, it covers every case.
Like .00 on the end of the...
But that
If-
never really works. Adding 1 or all that stuff, that'll work with integers. But if you do less than and greater than or equal to, then it will cover everything. So for example, this. Now, if you're going to do less than 20K for the first one, that will certainly not cover 20K. The next one, greater than or equal to 20K, that will cover 20K and anything higher. And then you do the and less than 40. And the next one, greater than or equal to 40, that way it still covers the 40 case, and then less than 60, and then greater than or equal to 60. So without the equals, you miss the 20 to 40 and the 60K cases. So that covers everything. Does that make sense? You can say no.
Well, it should.
That should.
It really should. I need to put equals
No.
in. I don't have equals.
Right. So there's a big difference between greater than and greater than or equals, right? And it greater than or equals includes that cutoff that you're specifying, whereas greater than does not include that cutoff. So if you have less than 20K and greater than 20K, then equals 20K is not covered. All you've got is less than and greater than. So 20K all by itself is missing in that overall set of ifs. That's why one of them needs to be equals. And it's up to you which one, you know, I did it this way, you could do it another way, as long as it covers everything. But I fear I'm not actually explaining it.
No, I got it. So I did my equals.
So,
Greater than
how
or
did-
equal to 20,001, and I put $20,000.50. It did nothing. I put $20,000.01, and that gave me 20%. So I still need to make it
Yeah.
recognize 50 cents.
I mean, a big deal here is that you definitely do not want these to be different. These have got to be the same, exactly the
They're
same
not.
numbers,
So,
They're not.
each pair,
so
each
it
pair.
didn't recognize 20,050
So I
So-
put 20,001, 40,001.
So yeah, you've got 20,000 and you've got 20,001. So any number between 20,000 and 20,001 is not covered by your ifs. And so it just falls right through and does
Yeah.
nothing. So this way, you don't have
So I
a
gotta take
hole.
out my 1.
You have no hole if you make those numbers the same. Yeah. If you want, you can like draw it. So if you've got 20,000 and less, you cover those. So it includes maybe 20,000. And you've got 20,001, and it includes all that, but you've got this big hole here between 20,000 and 20,001 that you don't actually say anything about.
You don't have to pay taxes on.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice, right?
That would be nice.
You can only screw it up, but you know, they're going to be pretty careful. They want their money. Now, it's true. As long as everything's integers, you can do what you did. But with real numbers, you can't get away with that.
I'm gonna leave you with this because I'm not trying to.
Yeah.
But-
1259.
But you probably will be getting emails. I'm gonna try to go back. Really, honestly.
Sounds good. No, I'm around.
I'll send you something on your flight.
Sounds like fun.
I'll send you a whole bunch of stuff on Thursday, and you can carry it on your flight on Friday. You can do 10 pals.
Yeah, when I travel, I tend to not be electronic.
There'll be stuff for you to when you get back.
So I got a bunch of error messages.
All right, let's see.
Well, no, it's one line of something. It's looking for something that I
Yeah,
didn't put in.
Yeah, I'll do 3.
Okay, error expected. Oh, it's terribly confused. Okay, your
So this is the
include
one I'm
standard.io.h, the first line,
Yeah.
which is what it's yelling about.
Oh.
It's missing a pound sign in front of the include.
Ah, jeez. Seriously.
Thanks, Cleveland.
You bet.
Okay.
Anything for